Thank you for tuning in to the Shikama Live Show with your host, Shikama. The Second Amendment has been hotly debated, but if anybody actually checks the Federalist Papers, they know that what they intended was for people to be armed, and not just armed, but armed with equal lethality as their government. Remember that the colonists fought the British off on equal footing. So it was in their best interest to make sure that they would always have equal footing when arming and equipping themselves with weapons to go to battle against government, their own government, including the government of the United States of America. They wrote the amendment to ensure that future generations would never have to bow down to or kowtow to a government that has become tyrannical. So, in view of that, we have Georgia passing the most sweeping gun bill in its history. The Georgia state passed a sweeping gun bill that would allow concealed carry in bars, airports, before TSA security checkpoints, places of worship that opt in, and some governmental buildings. HBO 60, formerly called the Safe Carry Protection Act, is one of the strongest Second Amendment bills to pass the House. Bill co-sponsor Rep. Dustin Hightower, that figures, it seems a little bit ironic that his name would be Hightower, said in February he was confident the legislation would pass the state Senate, and the 112 to 58 vote Thursday proved him right. The State House and Senate compromise on the legislation brought about the following changes: removal of fingerprints for renewal of weapon carry licenses, prohibition the state from creating and maintaining a database of weapon carry license holders, creation of an absolute defense for the legal use of deadly force in the face of a violent attack, removal of the sweeping restrictions on legally carrying a firearm with a WCL in churches and bars, leaving this decision to private property owners, lowering the age to obtain a concealed WCL for self-defense from 21 to 18 for active duty military with specific training, repealing the unnecessary and duplicative state required, I was trying to say a completely different word which was better, but I'll go with their wording, state required license for a firearms dealer, instead requiring only a federal firearms license, FFL, prohibiting a ban on firearms in public housing, ensuring that the right to self-defense should not be infringed based on where one calls home. That right there is amazing. That right there means that, you know, if you want to categorize as public housing being a black thing, that black poor people can defend themselves against the criminal elements, including the government. Codifying the ability to legally carry with a WCL on sterile, non-secure areas of airports, including a provision that would have the state reports those persons who have been involved in involuntarily hospitalized or have been adjudicated mentally deficient to the NICS system, while also providing an ability for relief through an application process to the court system for the purpose of restoration of rights, stating that under a declaring state of emergency, all law-abiding gun owners will not have their Second Amendment rights restricted or infringed by executive authority through emergency powers protection. You know who that, of course, refers to? That refers to Obama. strengthening current firearms preempting statutes through further clarification of the regulatory authority of local governments, excluding firearm discharge ordinances. The bill now heads to Governor Nathan Deal's desk. He has the option to sign, veto, or let the bill sit until it becomes a law after 40 days. What a fantastic state law that even if he doesn't sign, if he doesn't like it, that after 40 days, it becomes law anyway. That is an impressive set of sweeping laws to solidify in the state of Georgia the Second Amendment. I applaud Georgia. Recall that Georgia is also the first state to pass the Continental Congress to have the Constitution come up for a vote for new amendments. And they have set forth that they are going to, of course, limit the federal government. Stay tuned to the Shikama Live Show and make sure you subscribe. Thank you for tuning into the Shikama Live Show.